The Miracle on the Hudson, 2009, The Impossible Landing. On the freezing afternoon of January 15, 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 1549 took off from New York's LaGuardia Airport. Minutes later, it became the subject of the most successful ditching in aviation history. This is the story of how 155 people stared death in the face at 3,000 feet, only to be saved by the Hudson River and the cool-headed mastery of Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger. The strike. Just 2 minutes after takeoff, as the Airbus A320 climbed through 2,800 feet, the windshield was suddenly filled with a flock of Canada geese. The impact was loud and catastrophic. Both engines ingested the large birds and immediately lost thrust, emitting loud bangs and flames before falling silent. In an instant, the heavy jet became an 80-ton glider over one of the most densely populated cities on Earth. The decision. Captain Sullenberger and First Officer Jeff Skiles immediately began their emergency checklists, but the aircraft was sinking fast. Air traffic controllers frantically offered return routes to LaGuardia or a diversion to nearby Teterboro Airport. Sullenberger quickly calculated the energy and altitude he had left and realized neither runway was reachable. He calmly transmitted the now famous words, "We're gonna be in the Hudson." The splashdown. Landing a jetliner on water without it breaking apart is notoriously difficult. Sullenberger had to touch down with the wings perfectly level and the nose slightly up. At 3:31 p.m., the plane hit the river at 140 miles per hour. The impact tore a hole in the fuselage, but the aircraft remained intact and began to float. It was a textbook execution of a maneuver that is usually fatal. The rescue. As the cabin began to fill with icy water, the evacuation began. Passengers exited onto the wings and into the inflatable rafts, standing in 41 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 degrees Celsius, water. The location of the landing proved crucial. Within minutes, NY Waterway ferries diverted from their routes to rescue the passengers. All 155 people on board were pulled to safety, with Captain Sullenberger walking the aisle twice to ensure no one was left behind before he exited the sinking plane. The verdict. In the aftermath, investigators initially questioned if the plane could have made it back to the airport. Flight simulations suggested a return was theoretically possible. However, once the NTSB accounted for the human reaction time needed to assess the situation, they concluded that the Hudson was the only survivable option. The miracle was confirmed not just as luck, but as a triumph of experience and judgment. The Miracle on the Hudson remains a singular event in aviation, a disaster where everything went right. It stands as a testament to the importance of preparation, proving that in a crisis, a lifetime of training can make the difference between tragedy and a miracle. Do you remember seeing the passengers standing on the wings? Let me know in the comments below.